Growing businesses, evolving businesses, and startups, what's the first thing they look to register when they begin to start their company or their brand? A domain name. What happens when the domain name you want is already registered or taken? Stay tuned and I'll share some details on what you can do. Hi, Tim Santoni, private investigator working with brands, businesses, and law firms for over 20 years. Our clients include law firms in the Am Law 100, Fortune 500 brands, Main Street businesses, and insurance companies. We help our clients know everything. Today, I want to talk about domain name acquisitions, do's and don'ts. If the domain name you want for your company, your product, or your brand is taken, what are some options that you have? First off, you can go to a broker site on GoDaddy or any of the others and register your $35 or $50 fee and have them work on your behalf. You can hire an investigator to go out and identify and anonymously acquire the domain name, or you can try and find a similar domain name with a different extension like a .cc or a .biz or a .us. .coms are in the most demand and still are the most popular. So if the domain name you want is taken and you want to anonymously acquire it, when you're working with an investigator, here are some do's and don'ts. First, you want to make sure you have a clear understanding of the budget that you're willing to pay for the actual domain name so that the person you're working with can negotiate in good faith and do this so quickly. Secondly, you want to make sure you are ready to move quickly and make a decision. If that buyer, and in fact, is ready to move, you can get that transaction going. We strongly recommend using an escrow service that handles the domain names to protect both parties of interest. Next, you want to make sure that you are using an investigator or acquisition company that is reputable and has credibility. This will increase the chances of getting responses from the domain name owners. That could be a cyber squatter, it could be a domain wholesaler, or it could be a business. You want to make sure you're able to connect with the owner or the person who has the right to make a decision about that domain. Here are some don'ts. Don't think that you're going to be able to acquire a domain name for less than around $3,000 to $5,000. If it goes beyond $10,000, that's probably excessive, and you want to make sure you have an understanding of the appraisal and the value of that domain name to your business before you acquire it and everything that goes along with it. Don't forget to document the process and what happens, whether you handle it yourself or you work with an investigator. Don't forget to document who you interact with, when you interacted with them, and what they said. This can be useful in a UDRP or other legal proceeding as it relates to acquiring that domain name. Also, don't move slowly. Domain name owners are known to move on to the next person because they're getting so many emails and so many requests. If you delay, you are decreasing your chances of obtaining that domain name that you want for your business or your brand. Thanks so much for tuning into domain name acquisition do's and don'ts. Again, Tim Santoni. Consider liking and subscribing and sharing this with a colleague. If you have any questions about domain names, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks.